Welcome you once again, viewer, to another edition of Talk and Know. And I really want to appreciate you guys once again for the comments and the likes that you left on our page. Today we're going to be talking about parent-child relationship, which is a continuation of our previous episodes on proper child upbringing. According to parentingskill.com, it says the best way to get your child to listen to you is to develop a meaningful relationship with them without judgment and anger. I want you to understand this: without judgment and anger. So we're going to be talking about parent-child relationship today, and with me in the studio is someone you already know before, someone that has been with us, that has been able to give us some, understanding, that's given us some understanding to this upbringing thing. Now, with me here is Pastor Josie Akwobi. He's a pastor in Wisdom Christian Center, and as you know, he's a psychologist, and I know, like you people have said to me, that he is very loaded. So we are here again to listen to him on what he has to say to us on parent-child relationship as a key factor in proper child upbringing. So, Pastor Josie, I will let you tell the audience, what do we mean by parent-child relationship? Can you just explain to us, please?
Thank you very much, Kunle. It's quite a pleasure to be here once again.
You're welcome, sir.
You see, child or parent-child relationship is actually a fundamental basis on where a home is actually built. And we know that relationship is the key factor to any meaningful achievement that we do in lifetime in terms of external or internal. But when we are talking about child-adult relationship, it's actually the core fundamental base of the family structure. And when we get it right, the family will be settled.
Okay.
So definitely the question is very important, and I'm happy to hear that people like our last episode. So today, hopefully we are going to shed more light in terms of the pattern of the relationship that we are talking about.
Between the child and the parents.
The child and the parents.
Yeah.
Those meaningful, I think you made a quote there, those meaningful, that because relationship has to be two ways. It is not just a symmetry approach. It's something that has to be a holistic approach. How do we create that culture of relationship that we enable the parent and the child to understand each other? Relationship enable us actually to be close to each other. It creates a lot of connection, because this connectivity is what we make the family to be stable, even at the later stage and in future stages. So coming back to your question, child-parent relationship is a pattern that creates knowledge between the child and the parent. It creates a fundamental connection that we make the parents to know who their child is, and also we make the child to know who their parent is. I'm not talking about facial recognition, but I'm talking about holistic understanding of how this child is, how this parent operates, and then that will instill discipline into both child and parent in relationship. Because in terms of children and parent relationship, it is actually the basic key factor that we make a basic family to be established in a very good understanding and meaningful way.
Thank you, Pastor. I think I kind of get what you're trying to say to us there. So it means there has to be a kind of a center stage rapport between the parent and the child, where they can freely relate, so that they know, both of them will really understand themselves. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly, and this has to start from outset, right from childbirth.
Right from childbirth.
Right from childbirth, there has to be a connection there, and that connection should not break. It is not a thread that you just stretch and cut off. It is what actually will make that child to become who he will become or who she will become when they grow up.
Because the parent is the first contact.
It is very vital. Establishing meaningful relationship that will enable the parent to understand their child. That will enable the child also to know who their parent is. So it is very important that we don't cut it off in between. It is something that has to be continuous at all times. And when we are talking about the relationship, because that is where the family is established, if parents don't develop a meaningful relationship with their children, they will be lost. And then probably after there are 5-10 years that you begin to notice certain attributes that you don't expect. Nothing just happened overnight. I do believe in nature and nurture, but actually nurture play more important role in child upbringing. And that nurture comes from the way and the pattern that parents relate to their children. You need to have that connectivity. No matter how busy you are, it's about creating time to be able to establish that relationship. In relationship, that is where trust are being built. In relationship, that is where issues are being identified and addressed at the same time, not just identifying it. You identify a potential issue that will become a problem in later life. When you have a meaningful relationship with your children, in child upbringing is very, very important. We do neglect it a lot, but actually it is the key fundamental factor that when people miss those aspects of relationship, at the end, we are creating a humongous problem that may be very difficult to resolve. But when we create a pattern where parents and their children relate, they relate as child and adults, because there is a difference between a parent relating to their children like a friend to friend.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to expatiate on that, you know, during this. A parent has to be parent, but when we are talking about parent now, parents have also to understand their limit in terms of the way they relate with the children, that it become a friendly relationship rather than a one-sided dictatorship.
Very good.
The relationship is very important in this, and I'm very, very sure that there are different ways, I will name some of them, that we can create this relationship so that it will help us to actually identify potential issues. Listen, in psychology, we do believe very well that everybody is born blank slate in terms of a fundamental key factor that if you are born in Japan and immediately from Japan you are brought to Europe, you will grow up speaking English.
Definitely.
Why? Because of the nurture. If you are born in Europe and you are taken to Africa, definitely that person will grow up and become like African. What is the difference? Is the nurture. So relationship nurtured a child to who they becomes. Relationship enable us to establish key fundamental issues that could be a problem. There is no child that could not be excellent, and there is no child that could not be actually very bad if badly handled. So if the relationship are badly handled, the resultant effect is that the child will become confused. And when we are talking about this, we need to understand also the role of both parents, because both father and mother have
A role to
play in child upbringing. And where that role are not, played, it creates a vacuum, and that vacuum leads to the potential problems. We have absent mothers or absent fathers, not that they are physical absent, but
really, Pastor, don't let me cut you short. We're still going to that because I have a question that relates to that as well. So, but before we go too far into this, I really want you to just make something clear to us now. Now, when we're talking about relationship between a child and the parents, now I need you to just let us know what different types of relationships exist.
We have a relationship that it is one-sided relationship where parents dictate what happens.
Like forceful one.
Exactly.
Tell you, this is what I want you to do, and this is the way.
That's why I'm very careful. I call it dictatorship relationship. Dictatorial relationship.
Okay.
Where it's just okay, my way or no way. And there is a very friendly relationship where adults take the role of adulthood, and then child take the role of childhood. Because of course, adult have more input in what is going on. But at different levels and stages of life, the input of children also is very important.
They begin to matter as they grow.
Exactly. If somebody is thirsty for water, and you are forcing the person to eat food, definitely is not going to produce the effect that you wanted.
Yeah.
So relationship we are talking about is that the parents should be able to know who their child is, spend time, develop a kind of system that the child should follow, a system that is acknowledgeable, a system that is very, very good. Because everybody, I know there is no person that wants their children or child to be bad. But the issue is that the precedents are being set from outset unknowingly by the adults in the way they actually exhibit their own relationship. When it is I think I made mention of ad hoc relationship the other time, where people is just always late to bring something. Sometimes you find out that whatever parent does towards the child is a reactionary relationship. When things have gone bad, and now they stand and begin to talk about it. Why it was actually, we're supposed to identify those issues on time, deal with them before they become a problem. And I keep hammering on the fact that when principles are ignored, definitely problem become inevitable.
Yes.
If there is no guidelines, guiding principle, or you can call it rule, in a place, definitely you can't blame somebody for breaking it.
100%.
So parents set the rule that are conducive, age appropriate to their children, and enforce it as well, because there is no need just reading out the rules and it is broken all the time and you are not doing something to remedy it. A lot of people have a lot of rule books, but none of them is being followed. It's not the fault of the child. It's actually the fault of the parents or the adults when rules are set and they are not being followed. And secondly, I want to make it very clear now that it's not just about coercing. It's not just about dictatorship. It's not just about forcing people to do what you want. Relationship is about getting the understanding of what needs to be done and also getting buy-in from both parties. For instance, we have a parent that all the time he cleaned the house and it's been messed all the time. And instead of resorting to complaining why the house is being messed all the time, it is actually important for you to explain to the child the need to maintain a healthy environment. And instead of going there and cleaning it yourself, you bring the child and they come and give you a hand. So next time when it happens, the child will know that, okay, if a place is messed, they have to give hand to clean it up. But when our action become, or relationship become reactionary all the time, is only to find faults. I think we need to go to the fundamental area now, that in terms of relationship, we need to have a very cordial relationship with our children, develop right from childhood. You look at some people, when the child is born, right from the day they are speaking to the child. And you think they are not hearing, they do hear. That is what we call cues in psychology. They do hear. When you speak to them, they do hear. When you develop a time for bedtime reading, you develop a time, every activity that you engage your children with have a very significant meaning. Sharing dinner on the table, sitting down to listen to each other, or even when you don't read, and they can read, they read for you, or you read for them. So all those relationship matters, and you don't just, pinpoint what went wrong when you are relating with child. When they do something right, it's very important also that you acknowledge it. That is relationship. Relationship shouldn't be only one-sided. When things don't go your way, you just talk about it. A lot of people actually withdraw to their shelf when they know that no matter what they do, the only thing their parents see is what they have done wrong. But when you want to develop a healthy relationship, if you want to retain your capacity to actually challenge a child to change, then you need to be very, very balanced in terms of acknowledging what they did right and also speaking about what they did wrong. And like we are talking about consequences, consequences is not about punishment. Consequences is about actually investment. Trying to make child to understand that this thing is not acceptable and there is no need marshalling out rules that you cannot follow. You tell a child, okay, we can't sit on this couch today, and the next time you are the person sitting on the couch. You're actually creating a conflict already, and it may not manifest there, and that's what leads to children to fear their parents without respecting them, because you have already created a conflict in their mind. They don't know what to believe again, because what you say is not what you are doing. So in relationship, there are a lot of steps that we can talk about, but the primary thing is to create a friendly atmosphere where you appreciate your children and develop trust, because relationship is about building trust. Okay. If you cannot build trust, there is no way you actually can have a meaningful relationship. So when you create time to spend time with your children, don't only criticize them, appreciate also what they do right, correct them with love, and make sure that you don't cover something that don't need to be covered. If somebody does what is not right, it is very important that you call it out. And the person should also know that you are a model they should learn from.
Okay. So, but Pastor, before you go further, there is something that came to my mind, and I think I should ask you that question. You see, you were talking about, there was an instance you mentioned just now, while you were talking, you said about creating a kind of being their friends and stuff like that. I have seen instances where, the parents get too anyway, you can never be too friendly with your kids. You understand? Well, sometimes these children, they take it for granted. They take advantage of your friendliness. And now you won't even know who the parent is anymore. Are you getting me? Some of them take it for granted.
Yeah, I think that refers me to the quote that you made. The quote you made there actually is partly extracted from Winnicott. She's a child psychologist, one of the early days female child psychologists from UK. The fact is that sometimes, because of relationship, when we don't create boundaries, then parents overstep their relationship with the children, and then relationship shift from adult-child relationship to child-child relationship. No parent should ever get themselves to that level where it becomes child-child relationship.
Because I really want you to talk about that boundary.
Exactly. So the boundary there now is that when parents start becoming indulgent in their actions, in their activities, you are telling a child not to lie, and the phone call just comes to you, and then you tell the child to pick the phone and tell the person calling that I'm not at home. You are creating a platform of child-child relationship.
So in other words, exactly. It is the parents that engage the children.
Exactly. Exactly. When you create that impression, it's not great. You may think, oh yeah, you have got away from it, but you have actually created a very negative impression in that child mindset, and that is what we call child-child relationship. So another time they won't take you serious when you talk about things, because already you are there and you are telling them to tell somebody that you are not there.
Okay.
So, and when you start doing all those kind of stuff, you begin to lose respect from your children. They may not say it, but internally it is actually created, because that nurture that you are nurturing them have already created a kind of crack. So you don't get your state, you are in the state where you get your relationship with your children to become child-child relationship. There has to be adult-child relationship.
And there has to be a boundary.
There has to be a boundary.
The children has to know that this is the word of my parents.
Exactly. And when you are saying it, you don't have to be aggressive towards it. It has to be clearly stated. For instance, you may tell a child, stand up from that seat. And the child keeps sitting there, and your phone ring and you pick the phone and start talking, and the child is still sitting there. And you thought it is okay. It's not okay, because tomorrow you have already created impression that your word don't mean anything. You don't have to shout at that child, but you need to just call their attention. That's what we call consequences. It's not punishment. You could actually walk down to the child and, oh, how, son, I just told you to sit, to stand up. Why are you still sitting down? The person will realize and they stand up, and they know that is adult-child relationship. But when you say, son, sit up from the chair, and your phone ring, and you pick it up, and you start talking, after talking, you walk away, you didn't follow it up again, then you are losing. You are creating that imbalance of child-child relationship, which is not healthy at all. So all those little actions that we take,
okay,
unintentionally actually create confusion and crisis in relationship.
Very good.
And over time, you are losing your grip,
your potential, your potential as a parent.
Exactly. And when that begins to happen, things begin to happen under you know that you are not aware of. Children begin to develop certain attitude that you are not aware of. So it is very important that those fundamental key areas need to be covered. When you want to sit down and eat with your children, it should be time of eating and not time of another thing. If you want to discuss with them, that time, it doesn't have to be 10 hours. 5 minutes every day is actually more than enough to create the impression that we are talking about. But it has to be consistent. It's not something that, okay, ad hoc anytime, reactionary, whenever things are going wrong, then you just jump in, oh yeah, a child probably have done a lot of work at home. And very fantastic. But one the person gets wrong is the one you focus upon. It creates unhealthy relationship because you only pick the negative angle.
That is where I'm going next. So before we go into that, now we were talking about meaningful relationship. Now I get your point, Pastor. Now, for the sake of myself and our listeners and our viewers, you see, I want us to expatiate on what should we expect. As in, what should we qualify as a meaningful relationship? Then, what are we doing as parents that will not go well, that will not pass for a productive relationship? You know what I mean now? I want us to be able to separate so that even myself, some things I'm doing that are not good now, let me pick my own point from there. You understand? What are meaningful relationships? What are not meaningful?
So, meaningful relationship in the perspective that I'm coming from is that adults create the rule, but also with the input from the child, depending on their age.
Good. At what age should the child have impact or have opinion? That will their opinion matter? Let me put it that way. I want you to explain that to us as well.
Exactly. When you are dealing with another person, you are two already. So even at early stage, child input matters in terms of their upbringing. For instance, even when you want to make dinner, there's what we call two positive options.
Okay.
Of course, you want the child to eat a healthy food. So even going to cook dinner and say, okay, look, we are going to eat eba today or rice. Which one do you want us to eat? It doesn't make any. It doesn't create any harm if the child say, okay, let's eat eba or let's eat rice. It's you that brought them. Already you have made the choice, but you are giving them the power also to do what? To choose.
To contribute.
So there is no stage that is early to start contributing.
Okay.
We are going out today, you have two shoes, and then the child have two shoes, and it is raining. The child may try to wear the other one, but you bring the two shoes. Look, this one is for rain, and this one is for sun. And today is raining. Which one do you want to wear? What do you think the child will do? He will pick the one for rain.
For rain.
And that is relationship.
Absolutely.
You are giving them power to make decisions.
And right one.
And right ones.
Good.
So you give two positive options. You don't just bundle it and then 2 minutes to go. Get up there, get this and let's get out. Then the child, you are creating a kind of indulgence in that child. Over time, they start rebelling. Not intentionally, but because you have created unacceptable relationship. So there is no time that is too early to develop this relationship. Once you start early, it's actually better. Because when you start early, you begin to build trust.
Good.
And then when you build trust, the best way to train your child is to build trust. So no matter what they do in your absence, they are free to tell you. Even if it's wrong thing, they know that, oh yeah, my parent will understand. You are not actually patronizing them doing something that is wrong, but they knew that I have confidence in my parent to understand my actions. So even when you are correcting them, then they are taking your correction. And when they start getting into difficulties, they will be able to actually say to you. But when you start in the relationship that is just one-sided, they will start actually, withholding information from you. And when you are not giving them opportunity to make right choices, they will definitely make wrong choices. When you force them all the time to just follow what you want them to do, any moment that you are not around, they will do what they want to do. And that is not healthy.
Very good. Very good. So, Pastor, there's one other thing I need us to talk about now. You see, anyway, you said something about it before, because we were talking about some of them that becomes rebellious at the end of the day. You understand? Because I've seen instances where the parents gives too much, too much attention, too much indulgence and stuff like that. And then it gets to the point that the child now wants to do things on their own, even though those things are wrong. They want to do it on their own, and if the parent tell them, no, you cannot do this or do that, they'll tell you, no, that's what I want to do. It has happened in my presence before. A child talking back to the parent and said, no, this is what I want to do. A teenager, and at the end of the day, what he or she wants to do is very wrong, but he has formed his opinion about what he wants to do.
Yeah, because the issue is that there is what we call repression. Whatever that you repress, definitely at certain stage will actually manifest to the surface, and it manifests through different layers. It could come through rebellion, it could come through addiction, it could come through reticency. So there are a lot of things that it can cause when people continue repressing what they're supposed to do. When the relationship is not healthy, it leads to the child to repress all things. And because they repress it, when it is full, it will surely come out. And when it starts coming out, it can come out in the terms of rebellion, it can come out in terms of aggression, it could come out in terms of addiction. Because all these things is actually looking for approval. Because already you have created a platform where this child have no say at all. Only, do this, and that is all. I know what is better for you. Of course, everybody know that adults know what is better. But at the same time, you create an atmosphere where you allow the child to understand the rationale of the decision without explaining yourself too much. You create that, and eventually you are not allowing them to repress any feeling. Because anything that is repressed will surely come out and manifest itself. And sometimes when it starts manifesting, it is not healthy at all. So in that case, it's like the typical example I gave to you that time, in terms of if they're going out and it's raining and there are two shoes. You need to, of course you are the one making that choice, but you are giving that power to the person back.
To the child.
Okay, we are going to shop today. We are going to buy McDonald's, or do you want us to buy what is it called, KFC? It is you that is determined to make this thing, but you are giving that person a kind of some autonomy. You give that person autonomy to choose, even though, because they are not going to choose outside what you have proposed, but at least the person will have the victory there that it is what I said today that mommy agreed. And then it gives mommy power back or daddy power back to also win their trust. That whatever that they are feeling now, mommy, do you know that time I said I want us to buy McDonald's, I thought you would have said no. And what he's actually showing approval that what he said really matters. That when you come there, we are going to buy McDonald's now. Mommy, why can't you buy KFC now? No way, we can't buy KFC. Of course, I'm just using it as an example. Yeah. And even if you still want to make that choice of what you want to buy, you could say, okay, look, €6 today, what do you want us to buy?
Definitely the one that the money can buy.
Exactly, and you are giving them the autonomy. So relationship is about establishing a healthy relationship that gives child autonomy to choose right things. We are not saying that, okay, because you want to give child autonomy, you have to make any choice at random and you buy into it. But you need to take upper hand in leading and creating the atmosphere where trust is being developed. Like there are certain things that actually is very healthy in terms of parent-child relationship in terms of making sure that you have, parent-child time. It may be once in a week. It doesn't have to be 2 hours. It could actually be only 10 minutes.
Okay.
You can have nightly interaction. Spirituality is very, very important in child upbringing, regardless of what you think about it. You need to make sure that they know all these things. Very, very important.
Now, Pastor, this brings me to my second to the last question for today. Now, in a case where you give a child the chance to make a choice, and if he insists on the wrong choice, then how do you make your own point as a parent?
You see, I've said it many times about two positive options. Definitely, you define what game you are going to get involved in. They need to know what is not acceptable. Right from outset.
There has to be standards.
Exactly.
Good.
Things that are not acceptable has to be named. It has to be spoken about why it's not acceptable. And that, when you create that notion in their mind, they know very well that, okay, there are people that will tell you, my daddy will not allow something like this.
Very good.
You have created impression. So you don't just leave them in wonder and expect them to make that right choice. There has to be, guidelines in everything that we do. Even in the country, we have what we call constitution. At home, there has to be a guiding principles. There need to be rules and regulations at home. Exactly. But
which the parents must follow as well.
Exactly. What we are talking about now, that it has to be two-way. That when you are making these rules and regulations, you allow them input.
Good.
You allow them input.
Good.
Of course, a country, when they want to make a constitution, they don't call everybody in the country to come and make constitution. Exactly, it's just few people that do that, and at worst they throw it up for referendum. But the constitution is being made by the adults, not by the child. The rules for the house is made but it has to be genuine. It has to be doable. You don't just, you make a constitution and say a child must lift a table of 20 kg and the weight of the child is just 5 kg. It's not possible. So it has to,
that is more than.
Yeah, exactly. There has to be a reasonable rules set, and people will understand why those rules are there. And the people that actually break the rule more are the parents, and then they create impression there, and long time it begin to have effect. I gave typical example of the just simple. It's innocent, unintended consequence of actions, where someone is calling you, your phone is there, and you tell your child to pick the phone and say, "Daddy is not home." Where daddy is there,
you have taught him to lie.
Exactly. And tomorrow, if that person become robber, you say, "It's not my child." Whose child is he? You created the precedence. There is always unintended consequence for everything that people do.
Very good.
So relationship is very fundamental, and it has to be two ways. Of course, adults make the rule, but the rule has to be doable.
Very good. Very good. So, Pastor, now I really enjoy this. Now, for the sake of all of us, I want us to, if you can give us examples of what is expected of parents in order to form a meaningful relationship, activities, some kind of rules, some ways, some things are the parents looking at us, watching us, can impute into their parenting style to help them form, a productive or meaningful relationship with their children. Just like you mentioned, family time. It's part of it.
Exactly. I think the first thing that parents need to do there is to be true to themselves.
To be true to themselves.
Be organized.
Be organized, yes.
And then develop activities that are very relevant to their children.
Okay.
For instance, if it is meal time that you want to develop, know your children, call them by their names, acknowledge any positive contribution they are making.
Such and there's something like a time, a kind of intimate time.
Exactly. You know.
Just like you said before, like it may not be more than 5 minutes.
Exactly.
Just call him and sit down.
Okay.
What's up with you today?
Exactly.
What did you do today? Stuff like that.
You need to know who are the what your parents, what your children value. Who are their friends? How do they? We can't just have a child because you are working and the child is on the street from morning till night, and it's nurture. Every attitude is nurture. You can come from a very wonderful family and you don't know who your children are relating with. Every day, every time. Before 2 months, that person will develop a very serious attitude or behavioral issue that you are not able to resolve. So don't allow one day go without having interaction with your children. Know what their typical day is like. Who are their close relationship. Even when they are watching, when they are watching television, you need to know what are they watching. What exactly program are they watching.
They have to be part of their life.
Exactly. If they are playing computer game, find out what is it. Although you need to be 100% part and parcel of their children, and you don't have to be there 247 to do that. That's what meaningful relationship is all about. Find out what activity are they, who are their friends, even if they're in school already. You need to know who are their friends. What topic do they like enjoying more? Somebody can be enjoying mathematics and you see the person must be a linguist. All those things matters a lot. It makes somebody to put to their shelf and they're living the life of their parent, not their own life anymore. And before tomorrow you say, oh, you don't know what went wrong. Something went wrong because you neglected the key fundamental issues. You can't just leave a child to run their life without knowing what they're doing throughout the day. Even down to what they eat, you need to know it.
Like a regular check.
Exactly.
If you leave a car to run for so long without checking
it breaks down.
Now I get to
what they eat. You need to know what did they eat.
Very good, Pastor.
How many times did they eat? Even when you're not there, you need to develop that relationship that is built healthy on trust. And once you'll be able to know that, okay, yeah, my child can do this, I cannot do that. But if you leave it for long, it actually becomes bigger problem. Once it's easier to identify problem when children are still young, but when you leave it to continue growing, it becomes a very huge task to identify what the problems are. So it's very important. It is. I always believe that every child is a blank slate. It is what you populate into them that they grow up to become. Something don't just happen overnight. If you see a child, I don't know what happened. No, it has been repressed. And then when it comes out by force, it leads to rebellion. And you cannot contain it at that time. So you need to be very close with their children. You need to know every nitty-gritty about them. I'm not talking about dictatorship now. You have to sleep this or sleep that way. No, it's about laying a very clear guideline and make sure that they are maintained. It's simple. Like somebody sitting down on the floor, you say get up, and the person is still sitting there. You don't need to shout for the person to, even if it means you going to sit down on that floor for the person to get up. They know that when my parents say get up, they mean get up.
Very good.
And it doesn't take time to create that, that culture of behavior. So when you tell somebody, okay, go downstairs, and the person, oh, mommy, I want to stay upstairs, and you just walk away, even if that person wants to stay upstairs, there has to be a discussion. So they know that it's not just, it doesn't just
come just have it their way.
Exactly.
Every time. Yeah.
And I don't believe in actually, punishment. I believe in consequences. Consequences don't have to be punitive.
Okay.
And when you actually follow this principle, it does work. It does work perfectly.
Very good.
Because children, even when we are talking, the Bible said that the children are the heritage from God. And we need to understand that very well. Because the heritage from God, they need to be appreciated, they need to be cherished. In every tribe or language, when you do the right thing, you get the right product.
You get the right product. Very good. Pastor, you have done so well in letting us know what the parents needs to be doing. The basics is this. There has to be a kind of, you have to be involved in the children, in what they do, what they wear, where they go to, who they meet.
Exactly. Very important.
And what is, you have to have some time for them to get to know this. So the most important thing is having a kind of intimate time with them. time to get to understand them. And from what I gained there as well, you said something about somebody has to have the parent has to have the final decision, but the children should be given a chance at least.
Autonomy, exactly.
Yes, to put in their own
You know,
opinion.
there's a difference between autonomy and the independence.
Oh,
so
okay.
you need, autonomy is where you negotiate things.
Good.
At least you know what is going to happen, but don't put yourself in a box where you put the child to rebel. Always create an avenue where you have two alternative positive options.
To come to a positive compromise.
Exactly. For instance, if you have a child that don't like vegetables, there is no child that don't like smoothie. You still convert those vegetables to smoothie, and they will gladly take it. It's still vegetable. You know, but when you want to force it into them, they end up vomiting, and you will not like it, and you become angry, and every place will be messed. And when you convert it to smoothie, they will be gladly wanting to. You know, so it's very important that we have that. You know, it's about time. All this thing is about time. Sometimes we say we don't have time, but what you value, you need to create time for it. You create time to develop relationship with your children. You will be the person to enjoy it at the end as well.
Very good. So, Pastor, thank you very much once again. But lastly, let's just talk about this now. In case we have a child, a child that does something wrong, how do we deal with a child like that? Now, you said you don't believe in punishment. But there must be some way for us to correct a child, isn't it?
Of course, that's why
to make them know they have done wrong.
Of course,
what is the best way, you think? Because I know some child need different ways of correcting them.
Yes, that is where we call behavior management or modification.
Okay.
If you want to manage behavior, you deal with the issue that happened and not the personality.
Okay.
A lot of people challenge personality instead of addressing the issue. If someone break a cup, you don't resort to becoming so much angry and start calling the child a name.
Okay.
What you need to do is to separate the action and the personality. Address the issue that, why did this cup break? And the reason why it shouldn't have broken, especially if that person is reckless. So you address the issue firmly. Some children do break cup because they want to go and watch television. They are rushing in order to just go and watch television. Then you take off the television that is not going to be watched. It is actually more effective than coercing.
More punitive, isn't it?
Exactly. So, of course, there has to be consequence. And what I'm saying, that consequence doesn't have to be negative all the time. So you address issues as they arise, rather than bundling up the two together, where you are, talking about personality rather than behavior. If you manage the behavior, the behavior will actually be taken care of.
So that's why that quote says, without judgment and
exactly,
anger.
Yes.
So you don't have to judge them.
Yeah.
Just have to address the situation.
Exactly.
Not condemning them.
Haven't you seen a parent, because they want to correct with anger, a child break one cup, and in their process to correct the child, they break 2 or 3 cups?
Now, that is...
Haven't you experienced it before? It's true. Because they're not dealing with the problem. They're actually becoming overly aggressive towards what really happened.
Now the child will look at the parent and say, now, who is going to deal with you two now?
Exactly. And things that, because that's what I ask a lot of people. For instance, if you break the cup as a parent, are you going to beat yourself? No. So if you don't beat yourself, why do you think that beating the other person will make them not to break it? Because breaking cup is not only one person that does that. So separate behavior from personality. Deal with issues on merit. And once that are done, parenting is most fulfilling task anyone can do. It can be very challenging. We are not trying to
difficult.
Exactly. We are not trying to make it like it's an easy thing, but all these things are principles. And when you follow principle in dealing with issues, definitely you will get the expected results. Parenting is fulfilling. It can be very challenging, or call it difficult. But the truth is a blessing. And that is why you need to invest time on it. It's just like when we are studying, when you are going to school. If you don't give time to study your subjects, you are not going to do well. Even though you go to all the whole classes. Going to the classes is just directing you towards what you're supposed to do. What makes you pass is your extra reading. Extra resources, extra articles that you gather together make you be student or a student. If you go to class alone, you can only be probably C or D student. And that is how it is in child upbringing as well. If you want to get the best, you need to invest time. Quality time, because it's not about, spending the whole day, let's go and watch television and everybody forget themselves. We are creating a precedent there as well of laziness. So it's not about time, but quality time.
It's a serious job.
Exactly. It's a quality time that it is meaningful.
Good.
So you develop that healthy relationship that is built on trust, and then cherish people, acknowledge their good points, and also because if people don't have confidence that your children don't have confidence that you are very, very rational in terms of appreciating what they are doing well. When we are challenging what they are doing wrong, they are taking it wrongly and they will not change. Instead, they become reticent. They will not talk, they will fear you, and they will not respect you. But we really want our children to respect us rather than fearing us.
That's true. So, Pastor, thank you very much. I have gained a lot today, and I believe my viewers have actually gained something today again. Well, before we round this up, I just want to say this to all of us. You see, parents are more or less like a role model, isn't it?
Definitely.
It is what our children see us do. It is the kind of standard we set. This is what these kids are going to follow. So, like Pastor said, it is good for us to have a very productive relationship with these children right from birth, just like he said. You see, it is when we get involved in them, we make them have confidence in us. We make them trust us. When they see us as a role model, that is when they listen to us. And that is when they don't give us trouble. It is when you are part of your family, when you are part of your children's life. Like Pastor just said now, that you have to be involved in what they eat. You have to know what they eat, how they spend their day, the kind of friends they move with. If they make new friends, you must be able to know that, oh, you made new friends today.
Definitely.
I have a lady that whenever a child comes home from school, in fact, they will sit down together and talk. So what happened today? And the girl will be telling her mom, there's one teacher that was brought to our school today, Mrs. So and so. She's like this, she's like that. They form it. They are so intimate.
Exactly. That's healthy relationship.
Healthy relationship. There's nothing that happens that girl will not tell the mom.
Exactly. And that is how, if she starts getting into trouble,
she will tell the mom.
And they identify it on time.
Yes.
But if the opportunity is not created, they will get into trouble.
Before the parents know.
They will hide it.
So, it is important that we know this. Parent-child relationship is the fundamental of all kind of relationship that our child should have. If you are not, just like Pastor said, that the child's life is a clean slate.
Exactly.
If you fail to populate it with good things, something out there will fill it up for you.
Definitely.
And that is what you will start seeing.
What you get, yes.
So it is better for us to deal with the source, to deal with everything right now, rather than waiting for when it becomes a problem. So, viewers.
And like I've said last time as well, that look, this is not minimizing the fact that sometimes we may have difficult child.
Good.
But in dealing with that, we have services available to support, to deal with those issues before they escalate as well. So, once...
You mean government services now? Established bodies?
Apart from government services as well, even in the community there we have people that you can talk to that are professionals that can give you good advice, because everybody is learning. Some parents may not have all the skill they need to be able in order to develop that relationship, and that is why even the parent need trainings as well. If they're having certain challenges, it's not necessarily they should carry the child immediately but you need to find out, how do I engage with the child? You develop yourself.
There are different resources.
Exactly, there are different resources that can actually equip you. Because some parents have anger issues, and when you have anger issues, it's very difficult to manage a child who you think is not behaving normally. So you need to deal with your anger issue in order to be able to bring love to the child that you think that is difficult. So even parents need support in that area. They need guidance on how to deal with certain issues that are coming up with the children. So we are not saying that there is a magic wand out there, but what we are trying to say here is that there is always support and avenue to make a good home, to bring our children in the way that you'll be proud of it.
Very good.
Yeah, and that is why the community exists. So if you look at, like, for instance, if somebody is having a particular challenge and ring you now after this program, at least you know where to contact.
Very good.
For us to be able to come up with a program that the parent or the child will engage in, and things will be okay.
Very good. And I mean to say this to viewers as well. Pastor Justin is a psychologist and he is a pastor. If anybody by any chance have an issue to discuss, believe me, you can get in touch with me. I'll refer you to him. I'll give you his number. Talk to him. He's a psychologist. He's a pastor. And I think he will know how to handle that. Even if he cannot handle that, he will know where to, he will give you resources and how to deal with issues like this. I wouldn't want to take much of our time today. I think we have dealt with a lot of things today. And Pastor Joseph, I want to say thank you for coming to the studio with me today. And I'm very sure the audience are so pleased with what with the package you have today. And once again, to my viewers, thank you very much. We'll be looking into more of these topics. All we want to do is try and make all of us have a very good home, thereby producing good children. That is the best way. We know that the home is the first contact of all these children, and it is what we put into them that will make their life.
We get out, and also we are open to support parents
that
need support in certain areas. So I think maybe in our next episode we'll be looking at a specific issue. So if you can get across to Kunle and give him some of your questions, we are going to be answering the specific issues that are manifesting in the life of a child.
That's a very good one, Pastor.
Even if we have missed all that we're supposed to do, the hope is not lost. There is still a way to remodel.
Very
exactly.
good.
So we are going to be probably a specific challenging issues, for youths now that have already grown, and the parents are feeling very, very challenged to deal with them. We can still discuss on those areas and give you guidance on what to do at that stage.
You see, that is a very good one. So if you have any issue, or you have a topic in particular, or an instance that you want us to discuss, or if you need help in one way or the other, there's going to be some numbers popping up from the screen anytime from now. You can ring that number, or you can ring my number from Talk and Know, and definitely there will be solution. And if you want us to discuss something that you think we have not made mention of, just send a message or give me a call. We will talk about it, and I know we will all gain something from here. Thank you very much once again, and I want to say a big thank you to Ray Productions for having me in the studio as well. He's the producer, and I know he's been doing a very good job. And I say thank you so much to all my viewers. Thank you.